on, just think of how much money I'll make off of this. The viewers will love it.
And how's that supposed to benefit me?
Just think of the exposure. You'll be known worldwide as the girl who died in the woods. It's gotta mean something to you, right?
Please, I'm not 9 anymore. I don't care about the fame. Why don't you just give me a cut of the revenue?
Look, just go get lost in the woods already. We'll talk about that after you dive.
Fine.
Think about it. There's no way 4 strangers just happen to meet up in the woods like this. Something's going on here.
Anybody else notice that fog? That's not normal. I think a fog machine enthusiast had gone haywire.
I had a fog machine once. Used to use it every Saturday after my 10 a.m. cigar. Had to sell it to keep the wife happy. My wife, I mean landlord. You see, I used an arsenic-based fog. It kept my senses nice and sharp for the poker table. It also tended to eat holes in the drywall.
Yeah? Arsenic thinks it's so tough? You know, I could punch holes in drywall too, you know. In fact, some hardwood paneling ever crossed me, well, you wouldn't be calling it hardwood no more.
Look, I think we need a plan if we're actually going to get out of here. Any ideas?
There's definitely a murder out here. We need to hide until things get better.
You know, 'cause I tenderize the wood with my fists.
I don't need your stupid plans. Planning is for suckers. Planning ahead sure didn't stop my wife from divorcing me. By wife, I mean my wife.
He's right, you know. You gotta tackle our problems head on. We gotta murder the murderer before we get the murdered.
Oh, great! Now we'll just get picked off one by one like we're in a horror movie.
Not if I can help it. You go after the drunk, make sure he doesn't hurt himself. I'll go scout over there. I guess that hothead doesn't need our help anyway. It's not like he'd accept it.
Well, that worked better than expected. I'm lost as shit, and I'm just gonna assume she is as well, because I'm better than her in every way. And it's only been about 90 seconds. Well, I could see an exit about 400 meters that way, but that'd require more than 30 newtons of effort. I guess I'll do what I always do in these life or death situations, just ramble to myself about video games. Besides, it'll help me keep my mind off this newfound punk attire and murderous intentions. Speaking of murder, gotta love it, right? Homicide, manslaughter, first degree, public execution, no matter the flavor, it always gets me going. Problem is, my murder permit expired last week, and the DMV refuses to renew it because the social security number on my ID is obscured by bloodstains. Looks like we once again return to what is simultaneously the most efficient and low-effort way to simulate experiences: video games. I started playing Dead by Daylight about a year ago, and have slowly gained momentum with it over time to the point where I now have over 300 hours, all DLC, and probably a good $40 on skins. It's a new obsession of mine. It's quite the feat for an online-focused game to grab me for more than a couple dozen hours, so obviously there's something special about it. Let's start with what you actually do in the game. It's a survival horror game featuring 5 people in a lobby taking inspiration from, and eventually collaborating with, classic slasher films and even other horror games, including and not limited to Saw, Halloween, Silent Hill, and Resident Evil. The baseline for the game is that 4 players act as survivors while 1 player acts as the killer. It's kinda like those 1 vs 3 minigames in Mario Party, but with less Wario.
Well, what's the fucking point then? I love this fat fuck so goddamn much. Why do you look like my uncle?
The goal of the survivors is to repair 5 of the 7 generators spread across a partially randomized realm in order to power the 2 exit gates and escape the trial. The killer's main role, despite popular belief, is not to kill the survivors, but to slow down their escape as much as possible. It just so happens that the most effective way of doing that is preventing them from playing the game. Each survivor can be hit twice before they're downed, and once down, they'll be placed on meat hooks scattered across the map, until someone else unhooks them. And on your 3rd time being hooked, you're out of the game. The killers are naturally faster than the survivors, but the survivors have resources to keep them safe, mainly pallets and windows. Survivors can go through windows much faster than killers, and killers just can't go through pallets at all once they're dropped, but they can be broken as a trade-off. Once you get the feel for it, the killer starts feeling a lot less powerful than you may initially think, especially if you take team play into account. There's only one killer after all, and they can only be in one place at one time. Not to downplay the power of the killer though. Unlike the survivors, every killer character has a unique ability that drastically changes how they, and indirectly the survivors, play. To name a few, a dash with a limited turn rate that can instantly down survivors, traps that, when stepped on, allow the killers to teleport them, being able to go invisible at will, or even gun.
Yeah, that one didn't do it for me. Next one will have to be a lot more intimate. Warrior fan, huh? Well, he of all people probably deserved a quick death.
Everyone, both sides included, get to equip 4 perks per match, and they're nothing to scoff at. Some of the stronger ones can turn the tides of a game or, at the very least, make the other side have to significantly adapt their strategy. Stuff like showing you the exact position of survivors, massively regressing generator repairs, instantly transferring a health state to another survivor, or giving you an invincible dodge. Between the perks, killer abilities, random map layouts, and the game being played by probably not robots, the game very quickly spirals off the path of simply completing generators as the killer gains momentum. Someone's gotta go for the unhook. Maybe it'd be a good idea to heal them. You gotta drop what you're doing once the killer is on you. It might be worth your time to try to cleanse a totem or open a chest. Your teammate doesn't know how to evade the killer, so maybe you should go distract the killer for them.
Where the fuck are the generators?
While the in-game communication is pretty limited, if you lobby up with 2 or 3 friends, you can coordinate yourself amongst the chaos and pull off some incredible team plays that take into account everyone's skill level, busyness, and perks. Overall, both sides simply want to get inside each other's head and waste the opponent's time as much as possible while utilizing their own time well.
I was right. We are being murdered. And there's definitely a fog machine out here somewhere too. We need to get out of here.
Calm down. Look, I already tried looking for a way out. It's at least 400 meters away, and I'm not really feeling it. I think our best bet is to split up and look for the tough guy.
But
To be completely honest with you, the main reason why I initially fell in love with Dead by Daylight was the ability to bully people as killer. Completely unsurprisingly, I'm an absolute bastard when it comes to player versus player. What I most actively enjoy is making my opponents hate me and the game by using lame tactics. So imagine how delighted I was to discover that playing it well as killer is almost synonymous with playing toxic. I felt good at the game from very early on, thanks partially to my toxic mindset, and partially due to no teammates to rely on, but also because of the specific skill set that Dead by Daylight tests you on. A lot of other PvP games test mechanical skills prominently, where the victor is often the one who can aim the best, can best utilize the movement, or has built up muscle memory for efficient combos. In Dead by Daylight, your success is much more dependent on you being able to predict what the other side is going to do, getting in their head and forcing mistakes out of them. For killer specifically, your game plan and required skills are all dependent on which killer you choose. Planning ahead, resource management, perception, lobotomizing yourself, staying undetected, aiming, and mastering a movement quirk. But they're all options rather than the end-all be-all. And the fact that all games are ranked and therefore you'll always be playing against people of similar skill level, the game is incredibly easy to get into. The skill floor should never be a barrier, and because a lot of the skill is based around game knowledge, you improve so much just through experience alone. The skill ceiling is near limitless as well. I'm always thinking about what I could have done differently after a match and where I found my success. In my opinion, this mindset is encouraged by the win/loss system, in that there isn't one. At least, nothing that's set in stone. You could go by the rank system, but that's only based off your productivity in 4 separate categories. Certain playstyles or characters can ignore these categories, leading to situations where you get 4 kills but still rank down. I've had Survivor games where I die that have felt way more productive than games where I escape. It's really all about you and what you want out of yourself during a match.
What the fuck? I didn't even touch her.
I finally found you. You thought you could run away from me? You thought you could kill my acquaintances and get away with it?
Well, I was planning on it, but this bitch just keeled over as soon as I looked at her.
Huh. Your days are numbered, buddy. And that number is 0!
Why aren't you wearing a shirt?
I'm not about to let big clothing control me. And I'm not about to let you control me either. The oppression ends now. Ah!
You're still wearing pants that... Whatever.
The in-game reward system for playing is much better than any others that I've seen. As mentioned before, you can equip up to 4 perks every match, but the perks available to you start small. As you play, you earn blood points based on performance. These can be spent on each individual character to level them up and unlock new perks and hoard consumable items. Now here's the catch. Every character has 3 perks that are unique to them, but by getting the characters to a high enough level, the perks become unlockable on every other character. So the more you play, the more perks you'll have at your disposal. The more perks you have, the more alternative playstyles you can try. It always feels good to theory craft a build in advance and then slowly build it up and finally being able to try it out and get use out of it. While each set of 3 will only take 1 or 2 play sessions to unlock, the sheer number of characters will make it so you always have something to work towards. Especially considering that once the perks are made available, you still have to unlock them on each individual character. That is, of course, assuming that you get the DLC characters. While overall there's 25 killers and 27 survivors at the time of recording this, you only have access to 7 survivors and 5 killers in the base game. Add 2 to each pool if you're playing on console. However, the DLC packs are $7 containing 2 characters, and very often go on sale for half off. Plus, you can alternatively use iridescent shards to unlock non-licensed characters, which is a currency you earn by simply playing the game. About 20 to 25 hours of gameplay per character, which is not awful. You can also use shards to unlock individual perks from the Shrine of Secrets, which has 4 random perks rotated every week. I should also make it clear that the base game does have enough characters and perks for you to succeed well into the higher ranks. You'll just be lacking in some variety. While the in-app purchases are certainly the worst part of the game, they're definitely manageable, and it's not like the devs are super predatory. They actively improve their game, keeping it balanced and constantly adding new content, even going back to rework outdated graphics and design choices. You can tell that BHVR truly cares about their game. It only gets better with time. I mean, just look at some of the more recent maps. These are fucking beautiful.
Everything's falling apart. I gotta get out of here.
So far I've talked a lot about killers since, that's what I'm normally playing as. But I really shouldn't understate just how fun playing Survivor can be, especially with friends. Survivors actually have a lot of power once you learn how to play the game. I didn't enjoy the role much until I learned what I could and couldn't get away with, and how to play optimally, and got a few perks under my belt. Leading a team of friends to escape by managing time well and making the most of our perks and just generally outplaying the killer, it is satisfying as all hell. If the survivors play their cards right, the game can really feel like it's the killer who's the prey. In fact, the whole horror aspect kinda wears off after you come to understand how all the mechanics work, and you just kinda start seeing everything as, well, mechanics. And those mechanics all add up to an experience that I've never had before. You really can't compare Dead by Daylight to anything else, except for other asymmetrical survival games, but those tend to die out pretty fast because, simply put, Dead by Daylight just does it so much better than everyone else.
So, where were you? I'm always the one ending up doing all the work. I better get a bonus for this.
A bonus? You fucking love this shit. This is basically a paid vacation for you.
Well, okay, yeah, I guess you're right. Won't you at least help me with the body?
You sure he's dead? I think I just seen some eye movement.
Are you seriously still doubting my work? I've done more than enough to prove myself.
Hey, there's no shame in being thorough. I just don't want a repeat of, well, you know.
Yeah, I get it. Well, time to say goodnight.